Hey guys, I am the Comics Kid 2099, and once again I am here to do a top 5 video on examples of fanon. If you haven't seen one of my videos where I talk about fanon before, basically fanon is examples of fan theories that certain fans, certain groups of fans consider to be actual canon within the world of whatever fiction they are watching or reading. I've done videos on various fanon theories for movies. I did 2 videos on fanon theories for comic books, and now I am here to do a top 5 video on fanon theories for TV shows. Some of these kind of overlap with other media. I'll get to those in a minute, but all of these exist within the realm of television, so I went ahead and included them in this video. And without further ado, I will go ahead and jump right into the top 5. Number 1. The Master from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was the big bad of the first season. He was, simply put, a really old vampire. We really don't know how old he was, but he looks considerably different than every other vampire that we ever see in the series. In fact, he permanently seems to be in vamp face, if you will. That was the nickname that we had for when vampires kind of go into vampire mode. But every other vampire is able to resemble a human. We never once see the Master looking like a human being. In fact, as far back as 1609 when he sired Darla, he still looked the way that he does in the present day, which is to say very monstrous and not at all human. Which, as far as I'm concerned, kind of implies that he was really old, even back in 1609. Now, we never really got an explanation for why he looked this way, but I have a theory. The Master was sired by an uber-vamp. This is an uber-vamp. We didn't see much of these in the series. Basically, as I understand it, an uber-vamp is to a normal vampire what a Cro-Magnon is to a human being. More savage, more bestial, not really intelligent in any way. We saw several of these in Season 7, and basically they were unintelligent, non-sentient vampire monsters that were a lot harder to kill than normal vampires. Now, I'm not really sure what the circumstances would have been for an uber-vamp to have sired the Master, because we kind of get this impression that the uber-vamps existed way back in the time before time, like around the days of Conan the Barbarian, something like that. And we don't really know how old the Master was, but we do know that he seemed to be a really old vampire even 400 years before the series began. So I like to think that the Master was maybe 1,000 years old or even older, and he was sired by an uber-vamp back when these things weren't all caged up and imprisoned beneath Sunnydale. It's a possibility, it's not a very strong one, but when you look at the uber-vamp and the Master, it's really uncanny how similar these two creatures look, and I think that might be a really good example for why the Master looks completely different than all of the other vampires that we ever see in this series. Number 2, Nero Wolfe, the star character of the series of novels by Rex Stout. I believe that he is either the son or the nephew of Sherlock Holmes, who needs no introduction. Now, the reason that I included this one in the TV fanon video is because there was a television series in the early 2000s that was based on the novels of Nero Wolfe by Rex Stout. In that series, in the pilot episode, The Golden Spiders, we see hanging above Archie Goodwin's desk is a portrait of Sherlock Holmes. This is almost certainly Sherlock Holmes. There is no other person that this could possibly be. That is the definitive Sherlock Holmes with the deerstalker cap and the smoking pipe. That is absolutely Sherlock Holmes. Now, I guess you could argue that this is a portrait of a fictional character hanging up in Archie's office, which he shares with Nero Wolfe. I don't think so, though. Nero Wolfe and Archie Goodwin, neither one of these gentlemen really strike me as the kind of guy who would hang up a portrait of a fictional character in their office. I think that in the world of Nero Wolfe, Sherlock Holmes was a real historical character. He was a detective who existed and was very active in the 1880s and very early 1900s, and I like to think that it's very possible that he is either the father or the uncle of Nero Wolfe. Why do I say father or uncle? Well, Sherlock Holmes, as most of you probably know, has a brother named Mycroft, and in most versions of the Sherlock Holmes canon, Mycroft is a little bit overweight. We can just be nice about it and say he's a little overweight. Nero Wolfe is also overweight. Archie Goodwin says that he weighs 1/7 of a ton. Now, my math is not the best, but I think that adds up to about 350-ish pounds, so Nero Wolfe is a big guy. It's very possible that Mycroft and Nero Wolfe, they do eat a lot, but it's also possible that it's just in their genes that they are going to be bigger than other people. That wouldn't necessarily explain why Sherlock is so much skinnier than Mycroft, but whatever. The other possibility is that Sherlock is the straight-up father of Nero Wolfe, and Nero just eats a lot, and that's why he weighs so much. This theory is not actually mine. Several other people have kind of floated this one around. If you go to the Wald Newton Universe website, that is a website that you could spend hours reading all of the articles and text pieces there. There is a little bit of a theory there that Nero Wolfe is somehow related to the Holmes brothers. Also, the author John Les Crowart, he wrote 2 novels, Son of Holmes in 1986 and Rasputin's Revenge in 1987. These 2 novels starred a character, Augusta Lupa, and there is a kind of sort of strongly implied hint that Augusta Lupa is a young Nero Wolfe. Why? Because Augusta is a name of a Caesar from Roman times. Nero is the name of another Caesar. And Lupa is Latin for wolf, so Nero Wolfe. It's kind of implied that Nero Wolfe is maybe an alias for the real character of Augusta Lupa, or maybe Augusta Lupa is an alias for Nero Wolfe. It doesn't really matter which one is his real name. The point is, the character of Augusta Lupa is said to be the son of Sherlock Holmes and Irene Adler. So I like to think that Nero Wolfe is somehow related to these 2 guys, and that's never actually going to be confirmed because Nero Wolfe novels are no longer being written today, and now anything that is not written by Arthur Conan Doyle is really not considered to be, air quotes, canon in terms of Sherlock Holmes stories. So this is never going to be flat out said to be, yes, this is 100% accurate, and even if some author came along and said, absolutely Nero Wolfe is the son of Sherlock Holmes, there are going to be Sherlock fans out there who are going to say, no, I don't accept that as being part of my canon. But that's the beauty of fanon. Some people can say, yes, I accept that as fact. Other people can say, no, I don't really like that, and that's what's great about it. These people are free to say that, and those other people are free to say that. There is no right or wrong answer in terms of fanon. Number 3, this one is a very short one. I believe that someone in the universe of the rebooted Battlestar Galactica world has a time machine or has access to time travel, or someone in the world of Firefly has access to a time machine or time travel. The reason that I believe this is that in the 3-hour pilot for the Ronald Moore Battlestar Galactica world, we see this ship in the window of the doctor's office that Laura Roslin is visiting. This ship is very clearly a Firefly-class vessel. Now, if you have seen all of Firefly or all of Battlestar Galactica, this really does not make any sense at all. Spoilers for the end of Battlestar Galactica, but we find out at the very end of the series that all of Battlestar Galactica actually takes place something like 100,000 years in the past, and the characters eventually end up on planet Earth and are our ancestors. At least that was the idea. So it doesn't really make sense that there is a Firefly-class vessel somewhere on the other side of the universe, also 100,000 years in the past, when the series Firefly takes place sometime in the future after Earth has already been wasted and is no longer a viable place to live. However, it is possible that someone in the world of either Battlestar Galactica or Firefly has a time machine and they are going forward in time or backwards in time for some reason. I really don't have any explanation for why someone would go that far back in time or that far forward in time, but it's possible that that could happen. Alternatively, it's also possible that the world of Firefly, anytime that they mention Earth that was, instead of talking about our Earth, maybe they are talking about the other Earth in Battlestar Galactica. Again, this is spoilers for the series Battlestar Galactica, but at one point the characters in the series find what they call planet Earth, and it's a wasteland. It's nuclear, there's no one living there, and then it's like, oh no, Earth has been destroyed. And then later they find another planet which they then name after the original Earth. So it is possible that the people in Firefly are talking about Earth that was, talking about the first Earth, the one that the people in Battlestar Galactica did not colonize. This, however, still doesn't really fit in with the mythology of Battlestar Galactica, because in the world of Firefly, we have lots of people all over the galaxy. Meanwhile, in the world of Battlestar Galactica, we only have the people who are in the fleet, and we don't have any other people living on worlds or anything like that. I'm sure someone out there who is much more ambitious than me could find a way to make these two series fit in with each other and make the two timelines work without contradicting each other, but I'm really just here to say, yeah, it's possible that these two worlds coexist with each other, or it's just possible that this was a nice little Easter egg in Battlestar Galactica, and these two series have no connection with each other at all. Number 4. The character Deputy Owen Blackwood in the TV series Roswell is actually Deputy Hawk from the TV series Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks was a sort of parody soap opera drama series from the very late 80s, very early 90s. Deputy Hawk was a very minor character in that series. He was the deputy of police in the area of Twin Peaks, which is supposed to be like very, very northern North America, very, very southern Canada, somewhere in that area. And then Deputy Owen Blackwood, he was again a deputy in the area of Roswell, New Mexico, which is set in New Mexico. Now, I never did watch all of Twin Peaks or all of Roswell. In fact, I didn't even finish watching the pilot of Roswell. That's how awful I thought that series was. But when you get right down to it, there's really no reason for me to suspect that these two characters are exactly the same. I don't go around saying that Indiana Jones's father is actually James Bond, even though those two characters were played by the same actor. I don't do that with actors who play multiple roles, but in this case, you have the same actor who is playing a deputy in two different shows. That is kinda, sort of suspicious. Now, sure, there are plenty of other actors who play, say, a cop in multiple different movies or whatever, but really, when you get right down to it, I think it's very possible, even though it's never going to be confirmed one way or another, that sometime after the events of Twin Peaks, Deputy Hawk, for some reason, had to leave the area of Twin Peaks. Maybe it's possible that he was accused of murder or something like that. So then he left and moved to New Mexico and changed his name, but he has experience as a police officer, so he gets a job as a police officer, and eventually he is a deputy in the area of Roswell, New Mexico. With all of this stuff that happens in Twin Peaks, and believe me, there is a lot of stuff that happens in that series, I think it is entirely possible that after the series concluded, Deputy Hawk for some reason had to leave Twin Peaks and change his name. I think this is even more possible when you consider the fact that over the course of 26 episodes, which take place over the span of less than a month, and all of the stuff that happens in this 2 or 3 week period, yeah, it's very possible that even more would happen before and after the series ends. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go with the theory that Deputy Owen Blackwood is actually Deputy Hawk from Twin Peaks. And number 5, this one comes from one of my favorite animated series of all time, Gravity Falls. This is also not my theory, but it is a very good theory, and really I think it's only a matter of time before this one is actually confirmed within the series. I believe that Grunkle Stan actually has a twin brother who is possibly missing or has run away and is gone in hiding or something like that. There are numerous clues within this series that Grunkle Stan has a twin brother. Number 1, we know that Grunkle Stan's real name is Stanford Pines. He has been called this several times, I think at least twice by Little Gideon. And yet here, we see Grunkle Stan's car, and the license plate says STNLMBL, which would stand for Stanley Mobile. His name is Stanford Pines, but the car's license plate stands for Stanley Mobile. That's one thing which you could say, yeah, that's just a mistake. Okay, but there's more. In the episode Carpet Diem, Seuss finds a secret room in the Mystery Shack, and everyone is in this room, and Grunkle Stan seems a little bit grumpier than normal. He finds a pair of glasses on a table, and he pockets them very quietly without saying anything. Nothing in animation is accidental. If we spend 5 seconds seeing Grunkle Stan pocket a pair of glasses without saying anything, that is on purpose, and it will serve a purpose later on. I believe that this pair of glasses that Grunkle Stan puts in his pocket belong to his twin brother, who probably lived in this room. The final piece of evidence comes in the episode The Time Traveler's Pig, where Dipper and Mabel are traveling all across time, and at one point they arrive next to the Mystery Shack at some point during the winter. As they leave, someone opens the door. It appears to be Grunkle Stan. However, we have another flashback in another episode of Grunkle Stan around the same time period. It appears that these two are the same guy, except that the guy that we saw in the Time Traveler's Pig episode, he has a cleft in his chin, or as I like to call it, a butt chin. The guy that we see dancing with this lady right here, he does not have a cleft chin. Meanwhile, Grunkle Stan's glasses have rims all around the frames. If you look at this picture where Grunkle Stan is putting the glasses in his pocket, the glasses that he is holding do not have rims all around the frames. And this gentleman coming out of the Mystery Shack in the Time Traveler's Pig episode, his glasses also do not have rims around the frames. Now you could look at any one of these pieces of evidence and say, yeah, this is just a mistake, that's just a mistake. But really, when you add all of this together, I think it is very certain that at some point in the future we are going to find out that Grunkle Stan has a twin brother named Stanley Pines. I think that is only logical when you look at everything here. This theory, like the Nero Wolfe theory, is not my theory. In fact, I've heard this in several different places, and I loved it so much that I wanted to spotlight it here in this episode. If you want more Gravity Falls theories and ideas, I would suggest checking out two YouTube channels which are awesome and are completely devoted to the series Gravity Falls. These two channels are ValeSkiBum94 and The Squoo. Go check out these channels. They are really awesome and they are always talking about Gravity Falls stuff. If you liked this theory, I would suggest you go and check those out. And if you like this video, I would suggest that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Please leave your feedback for this video in the comments below. Even if you disliked this video, please tell me why so that I can improve this channel in the future. And if you did like this video, I will be doing more videos in the future. I may not do any more fanon videos. I don't really have any more fanon ideas right off the top of my head. But if you want to see more stuff like that, tell me in the comments below. I will see what I can do. In the meantime, that's all I have to talk about today. So I will see you guys tomorrow with an entirely different kind of video. Until then, I'll see you later. Have a good day.